Started, I'd like you to maybe take a deep breath. Maybe you need to stretch and just take a minute to reflect on the Indigenous lands that you're joining us from. So here I'm on campus today, the lands of the Lakwagan speaking people, known as the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. So it's really with deep gratitude that we learn, play, work here on those unceded lands where Indigenous and non-Indigenous people come together. In a few weeks, I think next week, we have a big event on campus, National Indigenous Peoples Day, with thousands of visitors and students, prospects. Everyone is invited to come here. So it's really important for us to really thank our Indigenous friends, colleagues, and people who steward the land for thousands of years. And if you know the Indigenous lands you're joining us from, feel free to pop that in the chat. Just a quick note about railroads. I know that the program we'll talk about is what we call a blended one. So you'll study at home and you'll come on campus just maybe a few days. But just to give you an idea of what is Railroads University, many people recognize Hatley Castle at the top left. Many, many movies were filmed here. So it's pretty famous. Behind it, as you can see, and at the picture below will be the Esquimalt Lagoon, which is a fantastic place to go and study, have a walk. When you're stressed out a bit about school, you can go and relax around the ocean. We have 565 acres, so we have lots of trail. We have a community garden where people can come and learn and garden together. And also, we like to say, as you can see at the bottom right, we are doing online education since day one. So Railroads University was funded in 1995, and we didn't have to pivot to online education. That's really something we have been doing for 30 years. So super important for us and for you to know, because that's something that is really at the core of our teaching and research model. Just quickly, I'm sure the student will have way more better words than me. I'm also a graduate, but why explore Railroads University? You might be sitting at home or at work right now thinking, why will I pick that university? So we see life as a qualification, and especially in the BCom program, you will study with people from across fields and sectors. And really, when you apply to Railroads, we look at your full picture. So we look at education, work, volunteering that you have done. Faculty know your name. I think Geoff will be able to talk about it too, but we walk on campus here or even online when we do Zoom room, and instructor will know your name, will know who you are, where you're from. You're not sitting in a big, classroom of 200 people and just receiving like one-way education. It's a lot of back and forth, so everybody get to know your name and get to know you. Learning based on life, of course, everything that you learn here matters out there. So really what we talk about in our courses, it's all like a tip, like news, right? It's all the stuff that is happening in real life that you face at work and your personal life, and we bring that to the classroom. Connections for life. A few weeks ago, we had our alumni weekend where hundreds of alumni came back to campus and connected together. So people you meet here can be instructor, program office, your teammates. You will all continue to be in touch towards your life, professional life and personal life. And we were built differently. I touched on it already. So since day one, we do online education, we do blended, and we also have on-campus programs. And I think I'll pass it on. I'll stop sharing and let's meet our students. If Geoff, you want to introduce them, and we have 3 really cool questions for them. So I'll stop sharing and then we'll get back with program information and admission requirements.
Oh, great. So, yeah, we did rattle off all of their first names to you. And I think what'll happen is that as each student chimes in, when I offer these questions, they'll tell us, for the first time, hey, who they are and where they're calling in from. And so the first question that I have for our student panel is to share with us a favorite element. Tell us about some really great thing that you experienced in your time at Railroads thus far. You could just chime in, you can throw us the hand wave, whatever you like.
I'll get us started, Geoff.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest aha or like what I've enjoyed the most is the cohort structure of the program. So being in post-secondary, just picking classes and kind of sometimes you share stuff, but I really like this cohort program where I have three of my classmates right now, and we've been a year and a half in or so, and it's just you really get to know your classmates and the cohort, and it's good experience because you're going through it together. So I think that is like my biggest takeaway and the aha moment that I really like the structure of the cohort.
That's super cool. Can you tell us just a smidge more about you, like where you're dialing in from, and maybe something about your background, like what you were doing professionally, where you went to school before, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I have a very diversified background. I've worked in banking for over 10 years, but I've made changes in my life because of my values didn't really align with the corporate structure. So I'm working as a butcher currently, and I was a couple courses away from finishing a degree through another university that was distance, but studying, advanced financing wasn't really aligned with what my goals in life. So, my goal now is to open my own business, a butcher shop, and other future ventures. And this program really spoke to me because of entrepreneurial management, the courses, but also the structure of it and everything. So currently, as I'm mastering my trade, my craft, I am also mastering, the learning and educational background that will really help contribute to running a successful business. So I'm currently in Alberta, but I will be moving to the UK shortly. So that's where I'm at and where I am.
That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing. I love what you've let us learn about your personal life, and especially that your big aha comes from hard fought experience, right? That you've gone through a degree somewhere else that didn't have these same characteristics. Thank you so much for opening that up to our audience. So, who else wants to chime in with a positive experience they've had in the BCom so far?
I can hop in there, I think. So
Great.
my name is Dylan Hoyne. I am the facility manager at Hoyne Brewing in Victoria, BC. I, like Eric, have a fairly diverse background, worked in kitchens, worked in the brewing industry, and I came to this program also much because of the entrepreneurial management aspect of it. So it's going to be very, very useful for me in my career within Hoyne Brewing, as well as for some little side projects that I might want to spin up in the near future. I think one of my favorite assignments or projects that we worked on, and it's part of a bigger idea, was doing a full systems mapping project for a business idea. And so I was looking at a small scale modular carbon capture system for the brewing industry and getting to really dive in and use systems thinking to map out this entire system of all the different actors. Was a really cool assignment. It was really fun, and it had real good real like tangible impact on what I was researching for work as well, which is this carbon capture system. So the way those two things sort of interplayed was really great.
What a fun example of something very practical. And thanks for sharing that example because it lays out for the audience how instrumental this education can be. So at different levels, right? Of course, getting a degree can advance your life in all of the normal, typical ways. But at our school, when you're studying something that you're really keen on, you can get involved in it in a way that you have little elements, you have projects, you have assignments, you have takeaways, you have things you're doing in school that end up on your resume, that end up getting tested or applied in the real work setting, within days or weeks of learning it. So that's such a cool example. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know that to be true because I've had class with you, right? And I remember in my class you were doing a different thing, and it was going to be applied, in a very real sense, right down the road. So awesome! Thanks for sharing. Who's next? Giving us kind of a highlight.
I'll go next. Hey, everybody. My name is Daniel. I am originally from Montreal, Quebec. I currently reside in Houston, Texas. My big aha moment and my in this program would just be, I'm going to say the last assignment I really learned a lot, and it was based on design thinking, and it actually corresponds with what I do as a professional realtor about how to empathize and think and really connect with my clients on a different level. So far in this program, I kind of feel I've grown in a way of my personal business. I've grown in a way where I'm able to connect the dots a lot better. And it gives you a different lens to look at any business, but specifically for me, I look at how people are reacting, what can I do to make it better, take a step back and look. So every element that we've been focusing on so far has definitely helped me professionally, personally. My past education background wasn't, I didn't finish my first round at university, so I'm very glad that I was able to find a program like this that can work with busy adult lives and doesn't take up 70 hours a week. However, it is a commitment and you're doing it to make yourself better and build onto what you've already done in your life so far. So I like the flexibility of it. The instruction so far has been great. There are going to be times when you ask yourself, what am I doing here? And then it all ends up being worth it. And the instruction has been great so far. And I'm looking forward to the next half of our program.
That's so cool. Thanks for sharing. And what I'm going to do is just taking us a little bit out of a linear framework. I'm going to skip ahead to question 2, even though there's a couple of folks who might still, want to chime in about that aha moment. But because Daniel's opened this up, I want to just pose this to him and then see if others want to pile on to this or the previous question. And so my second question for the group is, could you put yourself in the shoes of somebody in the audience right now and compare your previous vision of this sort of work-life study balance? How did you envision that, and how is it in real life, and how are they different, right? So I really liked where Daniel was going with that by telling us it's not 70 hours, but wait, it's not easy either, right? It's somewhere in between, easy and impossible. So can you give us a little bit more about that, your expectations, and whether you were right, in what you thought this would be like?
I don't think I was right. To be honest, I didn't really know what to expect. And as you kind of get back into academia and, getting on your path to learning, I did think it was going to be a little less. It was a little more, but it's all really about time management. And if you block times off on your calendar, that's what works for me. And it really is a rewarding process to see what you're learning to what's next, especially with when you put the effort in, you really get what you put in my opinion.
And what's super fun that's not even on the sheet of questions is, last week you and I sat next to each other at the Habitat Cafe, which is an excellent on-campus eatery, and we friended each other on Instagram, and we've been buds ever since, right? So it's not all sitting at home in Houston, Texas, clicking on stuff and writing blurbs here and there, right? There are these residencies that bring everybody together, and you've all experienced that, 1 or 2 times so far, and I think that's really something that I just wanted to throw out there and mention, as I think that's just so fun about the faculty-student interactions, and it might be an aspect of this work-life balance that is different from what you had in mind. And by talking about that and getting a couple more of you to chime in on this, I think that's going to help people in the audience now and in the future, right? When they're kind of wondering, what can I handle it? What's it going to be like? Let's see if we can give this a little bit more, texture.
I can chime in.
Oh, you?
Yeah, great. I hear you, Jane. I don't see your picture, but that's just because Zoom hasn't prioritized
Oh,
you.
okay. I'm here. I
You have the
promise my
floor.
face is here.
There you go.
I am just finishing, well, starting my capstone. So I'm at the tail end of this thing, which is fantastic and also sad. And I had also done the traditional university route, which to me was kind of just listen to people talk at you and then write it all down on an exam and then promptly forget it. And I mean, this has just been a completely different experience in that it kind of, you fit it into your life. And I think that's why it's been chaos. And I expected that, in a controlled way. The support has been really good. Like, I feel like as long as you're upfront and honest with your instructors, if you've got something going on, they're there for you. The support in that regard has been really good. I did 3 weeks of a course from Iceland with Rita, and she just walked me through it the whole time I was away. So, I mean, you just fit it in and it works, and it's been really good. And the fact that it kind of weaves into what you're actually doing in real life, it's so experiential that it's actually stuff that sticks. So I think that's why it's been so great for me, because it's not just forgetting it after the fact, like learning it and forgetting it. You're actually applying it to real life. And it's like, it's amazing how much my mindset has shifted in the way I think about absolutely everything, because we've been able to apply it to certain aspects of things as we've gone through the program. So it's been a lot, and it's been chaos. And I don't mind that, because it's kind of, I don't know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I guess, at the end of the day. But it's been doable at the end of the day. Like, as long as you've got your supports in place, you get the course outlines, and you know when things are going to be coming up. So you just know that this week is going to be busy, and don't plan anything crazy that day. And then this week I get a break. So, you know, it's fine. Definitely doable. I love that it's the delivery of it. For me, was one of the draws, because it's easier to fit into your life. That's kind of it, is you're still going through with like a cohort and you're following a schedule and all that, but you can like weave it into your life as you're going through. So you can make it work.
Terrific. I love how that you summed that up, and it's great to get a perspective from a student who's nearly done with this, right? So you've seen more than many of the other folks on the call. Do they feel the same way? How are you guys doing in terms of this expectation between what was going to be like and what it is like?
Yeah, I really didn't have many expectations. I kind of read through it and took it at face value. But yeah, as Daniel and Jane has said, you know, it is challenging at times, but I feel it is very manageable. And I also feel the balance is it. I think it's improved, enriched other areas of my life, my work life, my personal life, relationships as well too. Because when you have less time, you're kind of wiser with that time. And I think when I'm thinking about school and the concepts in school and just managing all this time and different projects and stuff, it made things making me more like wise with my time. So it has been challenging at times, but it's been very manageable and enriching in all aspects of my life, I found.
Love it. And thanks again for making time out of your day. I have only one more question, and then we'll circle back around if there's anything that you didn't get a chance to say, given the flow of the conversations. So in my third question, you know, this is, it could be in some ways similar to my first one, but really I'm just imagining you to think of something you want to proclaim about Royal Roads. Something, if you had an internship in our marketing department for a day and you could compose a billboard or one of those big signs on a bus stop, right? You know, what would it say in that message? What's the thing you want people on this call to remember if you only get one shot?
This really feels cheesy to me, but you keep hearing, like, whenever I see Royal Roads billboards around town, they all say life changing. And it's so like cheesy in my mind to think of it as life changing, but there's truly been like a lot of components that have changed so many things within my life, just the way that I've been able to shift the way I view the world around me, and like systems and problems, and like the design thinking stuff has been kind of mind blowing. And even taking leadership courses where you're learning about your own personal beliefs and values and how to apply that to your businesses and stuff like that. So like, I don't feel like I look at a lot of things the same anymore, because I have this whole other lens to look at them through. So it sounds super cheesy, but it's like I see those billboards and I'm like, yeah, pretty life-changing, I'd say. Yeah. But if you wanted my cheesy t-shirt, happy, funny one, it would say, ask me about my emotional support cohort, because I don't know that I would have gotten this far without, we have probably, I think there's like 10 or 12 of us that have gone through the whole thing together. And there's been times when we're literally messaging each other at like midnight going, we can do this. we're gonna pull each other across the finish line. Like we're doing this, and we've had each other's backs, and it's just been such a cool experience to like. We've had our teamwork moments that are not great, but also pulling each other through it and lifting each other up and being that support system. And like when one person's struggling, we can help them along. And then when I'm struggling, someone else can help me along. And it's just been a really fun way to get through it. And I didn't realize until we went into the second residency and I saw everybody in person and I was like, oh, right, you guys are the reason I'm still kicking. Like we're going through this together. We're doing this chaos together. And the emotional support cohort is very important and very great.
Love it. I have this Banksy-like vision now, thanks to your comments, where I kind of am picturing your whole cohort going downtown and finding a Royal Roads billboard and just underscoring and spray painting a big red exclamation point on that life.changing piece. But you're all doing it together, so you're all going to get arrested together, or you better start running now.
And then we call you. Hey, Geoff.
Very good. And we have it all on tape, so I'm burned. Okay, cool. Who else is going to chime in and tell us what they want to share with this audience, because this is your few seconds of fame?
I can chime in. So hello, my name is Alejandro. I am originally from Bogota, Colombia, and I moved to Canada about 10 years ago. I have 8 years of experience within the food industry, and I would say that what I want to say and what I'd put in my t-shirt would be sleepless but worth it. And just like everyone said here, the instructors, it's just because the instructors are great. The cohort is just like a family. So it just makes it worth it. And the growth that you get from the program is just makes the whole troubles of not sleeping worth it for sure.
Well, thank you. And before we move on to anybody else, kind of in the closing 2 minutes of this panel, I wanted to ask you, since we have you on the line, if you have something to say about some of the previous questions. I remember working with you in our recent class together, and I thought it was great how you were applying your past and current real world work experience together with your networking. You have a lot of plans, right? And you're trying to work the assignments to fit your life in a sort of a symbiotic way that's win-win. And so I love that. And I just thought that, you might have a little bit more to share with us about how this has worked for you as a practical piece in your life.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great because the things that we are learning in the classroom, it's not like you can't apply it in real life. I've seen in my work experience, and now I see everything different. I think Jane mentioned a little bit about this, and also about system thinkings. You start seeing things completely different, and then you get ideas of with the things that you have in your networks from your work, how can you take that and use it for future, and the opportunities that you get in the classroom to do that, to explore more into what you're interested is just great.
Thank you for elaborating, Alejandro. So anyone else on the panel want to jump in as we have our last minute before we return back to your regularly scheduled program of how long is it and what do I have to do to get in?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch upon that. Like, I found this has been really helpful, and like I'm kind of going through a beginning of a new career and stuff and new goals. But I feel like talking to cohort and other people that it's been very helpful for anyone if they're in any kind of job they're sticking with, or if they're planning to do a career change. It's very supportive in wherever you want to go with your career, because of the structure of it, the balance of it, but also just helping you think outside the box and look for opportunities. And it's really helped me over the past year to, as I'm engaging in a fairly new kind of profession, is to keep me aware of opportunities and just open my kind of mindset to those opportunities. So it's been very helpful. And I think for the whole cohort that it is in any kind of line of where you are in your career, if you're switching or anything, it has been very helpful in making sure you're not getting stuck in a rut and keeping you moving forward. So.
Fantastic. I got one of those scary blue notices from Zoom telling me that my internet sucks. So hopefully I'm not cutting out. But I want to just make last call now for any of the panelists who want to give us one last thought before Nancy takes us back to the rest of the PowerPoint, and the panelists can all take a big bow and head back to their regular days, unless they want to learn all this stuff all over again.
Sure, I'll hop in really quickly, and kind of just echoing what both Alejandro and Eric just said. The things that we're learning in this program are incredibly applicable in real time. Whether or not you are wanting to launch your own new business, or you're working within an organization and you want to be kind of in a more entrepreneurial role, virtually every assignment that we work on, you can just find a way of tying that back to what matters to you, whether it's something that you're working on personally or whether it's something you're working on in your professional life. And I think that that's been really impactful. It's been a pretty amazing way to really tie in all of the academic learnings with the real world application of them in real time. And that's something that I definitely didn't get at previous programs when I was studying business administration. So yeah, it's been a fantastic experience so far, and I'm really looking forward to the next year of it.
So good. And thank you for representing, all of you.
I'll just agree with everybody that has kind of said the last two that spoke, Dylan, and Eric and Alejandro. I definitely think everything you are doing right now is going to be used in your life now and in the future. And I have to say, if my t-shirt had to say something, it would say TTP, which is trust the process, because it actually does work. I didn't trust it in the very beginning, and as it progressed, you just get stronger and stronger and stronger. So you just have to trust the process that you're in. The program is set up for you to succeed and to build on different theories as you progress through. So that would be my my t-shirt, TTP.
I feel like I
Excellent.
should chime in just to round it all out with everybody here, but I just wanted to say, if there's anybody on the fence that's thinking that you might not have anything to offer when you come to this program, maybe some imposter syndrome, which is kind of how I went into it, there's always something to offer. And I have to say the instructors have been very good at sort of bringing that out. I'm a mom. I work part-time and I volunteer a lot. And even out of that, instructors have been able to help me see my part in the bigger system and how all of the stuff that I'm learning can be applied in my life and used to enhance that. And it's truly helped me in all sorts of like leadership capacities and stuff like that as well. So even if you think that maybe this just isn't the right thing, I don't belong there, I believe that you can find something in this program for you no matter what stage you're in. And it's been a really good experience all around. So highly recommend.
Terrific. I feel like a cheesy newscaster, but back to you, Nancy, in the studio.
In the studio, a huge thank you to you all. I see the chat. People are very grateful. People, as you mentioned, on the edge, and they're like, oh, maybe I'll do it. So thank you so much. And of course, we'll share the recording. And yeah, feel free to stay around or just leave, and I'll message you back after. But yeah, great presentation. And I just love, because when we see BCom student on campus, of course we know who you are. You just have that creative thinking that, as you're mentioning, I love that. You have like such a good energy. So I think, Geoff, we can go together toward the next slides. We have about 20-ish minutes left. So maybe some people were asking about the schedule. So I think we have that somewhere. Do you want to take that one on? And
Yeah, sure. We could skip to that, or we could go I mean, these are pretty concise slides here. So this is my overview of this Bachelor of Commerce and Entrepreneurial Management program. You know, the target audience being you who are listening to this video, you know, there's a lot of it in here for you, right? So it's about in many ways unfinished business, right? So here you can come and get this bachelor's degree and experience this while continuing to work, right? So this is something that suits your life. It fits in, as many of the panelists have just described, in a far more vivid way. And something that hopefully came through just in going and having a conversation like this is that we have small class sizes. That is a huge boon to you, right? So whether you're physically here, whether you're far away, you're going to have a customized learning experience that can't help but being boutique or bespoke, right? And that leads to high completion rates. And that is described here in a very early slide because we want that to relax you. If that's something that concerns you, like what if I'm out in a remote situation, or what if I get redeployed at work and I have to go to some other thing, right? How would I feel confident that I could keep on going, right? Well, I don't want to start the thing if I can't finish it. So all that you just heard in terms of testimonials, I think would be useful here. But we're also trying to state it in bold right in front of you. We have high completion rates. People are happy with the program, and having small class sizes, both online and in the physical in-person part of the program, it leads to very practical outcomes, and that might be appealing to you. So we'll go to the next slide, Nancy. Great. So our program, as we've mentioned, but here we wanted to clarify for you, it's effectively the last 2 years of a 4-year degree, right? So you might have had 1 or 2 years at a college. You might have had the equivalent of that. We'll go a little bit deeper into such a concept in a few slides, right? But what we're delivering for you is that last 60 credits of an undergraduate experience. It's a blended delivery, which is largely online, but there are 3 times that you would need to block a week off in your life. Those 3 times happen within generally the 2.5-year window of getting a Bachelor of Commerce from Royal Roads. There is an option technically to compress that time even more, but it's not what we're generally recommending, right? Because the program is built to be moved through in a cohort, as you heard, and it's meant to flow, and it's already an intense commitment. So the 30-month is generally what we want to start talking about with you, and you can be in touch directly if you have other life circumstances that are encouraging you to ask about changing that up. Right. So as I mentioned a minute ago, it's a boutique type of an experience that I hope came through in all those personal interactions. And something that hasn't come up in the BCom in Entrepreneurial Management in our particular program, something we've noticed over the last couple of years that is really interesting and encouraging is that many of our students are Canadian, and many of those students weren't born in Canada. So this brings this really interesting global perspective to all of our cases and challenges. And of course, any of these things, if they're practical, they're embedded in community, and this is all going to make everything better when we have a variety of perspectives. So the BCom is naturally doing that. It's not something where we're pulling levers and knobs to make it happen. It's doing that by itself, and that's making the whole experience better for everyone. Now, the people who are suited for this tend to share that what brought them together, or what brought them to us, is this common desire to look into opportunities to grow their influence and impact, and maybe their agency, to use an academic word, for power and control in their career going forward. So we'll go to the next slide, Nancy. Thank you. So what's in a name, right? We keep saying BCom, BCom. In Canada, that is a normal thing. In other places like Houston, Texas, if Daniel said that to somebody at a Starbucks, they'd be like, what? Right? Because it's not every country that uses this acronym to describe a certain type of a business degree. And so this business degree is positioned, and this is my opinion, I typed the slide up. So what I'm trying to express is that this fits in between like a BBA degree, which is more common, especially in the US, right? A Bachelor of Business Administration is something you could go and study somewhere. This is better than that. This is bigger than that. This is at a higher level. It's close to an MBA in terms of content. I have an MBA. I teach in our MBA. I know that from experience at an expert level, right? So our BCom degree is something between BBA and MBA, and that would, in layman's terms, maybe be helpful to those of you on the call. That it is focused on entrepreneurial management, and this was a very carefully chosen phrase, right? It's not a BCom in entrepreneurship. You don't have to be worried that you right now today don't have an idea of how to solve cold fusion and clean energy for the world, and that you won't be able to figure that out between now and the June 29th application deadline. This is about a way of thinking. It's about a mindset that is oriented towards value creation. It is almost universally applicable. There's all sorts of opportunities that you can find yourself in as the program has its effect on you. And you've talked to people now who are all at various stages in the program. They're not even completely through it yet. And they've had such a great transformation that helps them be better at being resourceful, at identifying opportunities, modeling possibilities. We heard about map the system a few minutes ago, co-creating solutions, working with a community, working with stakeholders, and turning those ideas into action. All of that is going to increase your value in the workplace, wherever you are in that business ecosystem, or in the nonprofit world, or in a government role. Everybody can use these skills, and it's not just a degree in being a startup leader, although that's entirely something you'd be prepared for. That's not our expectation of you.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Thank you. Yeah. And someone was mentioning, I think as you speak about the schedule here, someone was saying, when will I decide that business idea? At which level of the program or at which stage?
Yeah, so well, if you've been interested in this general topic for a few years, you've maybe heard of some of these concepts, right? Like the lean startup or the minimum viable product or design thinking, as Jane mentioned, right? And what all of these different paradigms have in common is they get you out of a theoretical mindset, they get you out there trying stuff and interacting. And so our curriculum does that at many levels, and the one you're asking about is about my capstone. When do I get to try that? And you get to take that on so many times. In every class, you could conceivably work your final project or your group project even so that it aligns with this experiment that you're running through these 30 months. So, unofficially, you can be playing around with your capstone from day one. And that sounds great. Now, you shouldn't expect that your capstone is going to survive unscathed, because you've just heard about how this changes the way you think. So you might come to school thinking, I'm going to do this. This is going to be my capstone. That seems like something doable. And then you will have your mind opened up, and you will go out and meet people, and you will make changes to your own concept. So by the time that you kind of officially clarify or solidify or crystallize that concept, then you will have had already half of the program under your belt. So you see this dark teal band that says development/application, right? So that starts at the end of the 5th quarter of study. So about 15 months in the program. And then you will be asked to have your idea roughly, right? And then we take that, and it can still grow and change and develop and evolve and be improved. But that's that kind of official moment that you're looking into, and it comes halfway through the program.
I really like that visual. It means so much. We can really see what we're studying. And this person is taking the 24 months, which will be this schedule here. And can you let us know, Geoff, is the 24 months also a cohort based?
Yeah, the Bachelor of Commerce degree is cohort based, and then the few people that are doing it in 24 months for a variety of important reasons, then sometimes they double up. Sometimes they're brought into another cohort, and that's so cool, right? Again, it's not a common choice, and it makes the whole thing that much more intense, right? So we don't recommend it, but there is this really neat positive side effect, which is that you get to meet people in other cohorts. So if you think about this program being so special, but so small, wouldn't it be neat if you got to dip into other rooms with other people who have a similar mindset as you? Because you'll have more of an opportunity to create these lifelong friendships that we hear about all the time from our alumni.
Wonderful. Yeah, love it. And I think for admission we can both go, or I can give it a try and then you continue. But I think, yeah, as we heard from our students, right? Some people coming from traditional education background, like, okay, I did my college diploma and then I'm doing my year 3 and 4 in the BCom program. And some people also saying like, oh, I didn't complete my degree, but I have enough work experience that I can still be a good candidate. So this is what I love about Railroads. We do standard and flexible admission. And please know that all this information is on the website. So it's not something you have to retain. We will guide you through the website. It's all well indicated. But really the standard will be like you have a minimum of 60 credits, at least 24 second year credits, and a GPA of B from a recognized post-secondary institution. And we ask for about 2 years of full-time work experience. As you can tell in the classroom, I think people will be more under maybe 25, 30, 35, 40s years old. So you won't have necessarily people coming straight from like high school as other institutions, for example. So that brings like a special taste to the cohort as well, because people have that 2 years of full-time work experience. And I know that as Jane said, like don't play down on yourself and think you don't bring enough, because you really have to sit there and think about your work experience, and more often than less, you have that experience. Sometimes we feel like, oh, we don't, but we really do when we take a step back and we reflect on it. And the flexible will be a combination formal education, informal learning, and real world experiences and accomplishment. And it says here, if you have fewer than 15 post-secondary credit, then normally we require at least 7 years of full-time work experience with about 3 years at a supervisory, project lead, or management level. A little bit like all the stories you heard. I think the 5 people we just had, they all showcase or demonstrate that kind of management or leadership competencies they were bringing in. Anything to add to this, Geoff?
Yeah, and if I were to answer my own third question on the panel about what would I put on the t-shirt, it would be this. I would be yelling flexible admissions. I would roll up a piece of paper and yell it at people everywhere I could, because there are hundreds of thousands of people in Canada who did not complete university. When they set out to do it, something happened, life got in the way, right? And this is a call to every one of them, right? With open arms. Come and check this out. Feel welcomed. Know that we're going to evaluate positively all that you bring to the table from your work experience. And it's okay. And it's probably actually excellent if that's in the trades, if you have a particular skill or expertise that sets you apart. That's going to bring great things for you in the future once you bring it into our program and you add to it all those skills that I enumerated a few minutes ago. So flexible admissions is my favorite part of this talk, and I want to yell it, so I just did.
I love that. And this is what brings like such richness into the cohort, because we have, those people with all different backgrounds all coming together and doing teamwork and cheering each other up. So that's amazing. Admission condition here, depending of your background of which education you did, you might be asked to do that 4 weeks online course called Financial Accounting Fundamentals. And you might be asked to do the academic writing and critical thinking, which is 8 weeks online. And we ask that those courses be completed at least 5 weeks before you start your program. And again, it's just to set you up for success. Like those prerequisites, if I can say, will really build, especially for some of us who have been away from post-secondary institution for a while, it just sets you up for success, so you can relearn how to do certain of those skills, and then you meet other railroad students in those courses as well, and then you have that kind of break of 5 weeks so people can evaluate in our team, and then you can enter the cohort. But I know I took the academic writing and critical thinking, and that really set the stage for my master, because I realized how much more I had to learn before jumping into the content, into the topic. And I think Kelsey will be sharing with us some links about those courses. And don't worry, we don't let you alone navigate all that. This is exactly why you will meet an enrollment advisor to see what you have, and when you apply, what you're missing, and we will guide you through. And how to apply. So if you're at that stage, you go simply to the railroads.ca website. You have a little button there to apply. You pay an online fee of $136.39, and then you will be prompted to start adding your documents. So if you come to the traditional way, you will be asked to import your official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions you attended and a detailed resume. And there's guideline about that resume on the website, and it says to be chronological. So I guess as you started working and you build from there. If you are coming to flexible admission, the admission teams will reach out to you to ask for more documents, which will be your personal statement and one letter of reference that can be professional or academic. And just coming back to the personal statement, your why, this is where I find that many prospects, many people I talk to, they think they don't have enough to do the program. But when you sit and you write that letter, you realize, oh, wow, no, I have a lot, I've done a lot, and I have a lot to offer, and this is where I want to go. And the key dates, I think you mentioned them, Geoff. Thank you so much. So we have September coming around the corner here. You still have a few weeks to apply, June 29. And please note that if you're ready to jump in September, as long as you start your application by June 29, you will still have a few more weeks to upload your documents. So if you're ready today, just do it. And then you have a few more weeks to import your documents. We just don't want you to rush and wait too late. You know, you need to be prepared and get your life a little bit organized when you jump into a program like this. And in September, you will have the 24 or the 30 months option that will start. And I think someone in the room is starting the 24 months. So that's very exciting. And then next spring, March 30th, 2026, you'll have the 30-month option that will start again. And the deadline for that is December 30th, which I'm laughing at because I don't know if many people will be working after Christmas doing their application, but we shall see. And again, you can already apply for both those dates. If you're not quite ready for September and you want to apply for March, it's already open in the system. And we also do rolling admission at railroads, which I'm a huge fan of. So you don't have to wait the deadline. As soon as you apply and we have all the documents, you will get the notification of if you can enter the program or not. And I think, services available to you. So many services. When you get here as a student, there's way more services. But now, as a prospect, someone exploring the program, you can always connect with the financial aid and award team. You have the link there. We'll share the link with you with the recording as well. But really, please have a look, because sometimes even entry level, you can get a little 1,000 here and this and there. Like you can grab some little awards and bursaries a bit everywhere. And of course, Kelsey is here to represent enrollment services. So it can be a phone call, it can be a Zoom, it can be an appointment even on campus, just to really talk it through and ask all your questions. But we still have a few minutes to answer some of those questions as well. So just want to say a big thank you to everybody who attended, and Geoff for your time. And let's see if we have any question.